Going wink on the line and air bridge collapsing.
There's a sponsor. Kevin.
Behind the battles at the top of the McDonald and Munro Speyside stages, there was plenty of interest in the classes throughout the field. So let's catch up with the crews we haven't seen yet in the modified and pro classes.
Come on, feather the throttle, that's it. Oh, that's no.
Oh, go on, boy.
Making a return to the gravel after a few years away, Civic crew Ryan Ingram and Callum McDougall were getting back into the rhythm of the forests. Friday night was hard work. A puncture on the road section to stage 1 wasn't a great start, and they quickly discovered the map light wasn't working. Saturday they built their pace all day, the Civic sounding as great as ever out on the stages. Martin Erskine and Kieran Hislop had burned the midnight oil sorting the C2's engine out after the snowman. Friday night they struggled with a misfire, but were ultimately forced out with clutch failure on the Saturday. Well known in the tarmac scene, Dave McIntyre was making his gravel debut with Cameron Dunn alongside. With a lot to learn, it was a proper baptism of fire for the C2 pilot, especially in the dark of Friday night. Building pace and confidence all Saturday, they finished 67th overall and third in class at the finish.
So last night was quite good, but just went to check the car there just now and it got a broken shocker. So it's got a bodged repair, so I don't think it's going to hold up.
Snowman class winners Andy and Glenn McDonald's good pace from round 1 continued on these stages, battling for the class win early on. Unfortunately, they were forced out with broken suspension in stage 8. And that left Megan and John O'Kane as the sole M3 runners. Enjoying that battle with the white Fiesta while it lasted, Megan reckoned this was the best event she'd done so far as a driver. Second in the ladies and 47th overall was a good result, as she learned how the new 2-litre engine performed. And there's definitely more to come. Kenny Wood and Gordon Chalmers were forced out with clutch failure in the BMW. David Hardy and John McCulloch's difficult season continued, the Mark II's head gasket failing on a road section. The Arbuthnot's made it all the way to stage 10 before retiring with clutch failure.
Heroes coming up here.
John Bailey and Chris Wareham really earned their first finish of the season, the escort giving bother all event, a mysterious electrical glitch causing the car to cut out. The dashboard also fell to bits in stage 5, but 63rd overall was their reward. Rue Campbell had burned the midnight oil to sort the car after its snowman rollover. After a slow start in the dark, Rue and Shayna Archibald really got going on the Saturday, climbing from 89th overnight to 57th by the finish. Having never finished the Speyside before, they were a very happy crew at the end.
Not the best start. The gearbox blew up, so that was us out essentially last night. But the team rallied round and said, why don't we try and put a box in it? So we were up till 5:15 this morning. We got a box out of our road car and put it in, and we're back this morning. So
David Wilson and Kenny McGilvery's gearbox would give up in the dark of Friday night. But rather than pack up, they worked overnight to fit a standard unit into the car and carry on, with some help from Scott Macbeth and Ewan Mackay. David adapting to the H pattern pretty quickly, and they set some decent times. But sadly the diff would give up on the final stage of the event, robbing them of what would have been a well-earned finish. There was carnage in M6. Duncan Campbell, Brett McKenzie, Fraser Smith and Jan Budge all failing to see the finish. Martin Burke was making his first rally start since 2007. With Owen Patterson in the hot seat, things went very well on his comeback. 4th in class and 48th overall was an excellent result.
We've had a great morning, a great afternoon, and it's just ace. It's all come together. Last night's just a distant memory. So we've done the Gartley. That's ace. We don't need notes for that, but just drive it. That Balloch, same again. Just super quick, like really good, really good.
Mike Moats and Gary McDonald had a disastrous Friday night. The spotlights not set up correctly meant Mike couldn't see, and the map light was faulty, meaning Gary couldn't really see the notes either. Saturday they were on the charge, loving the car on its new suspension and climbing from 73rd overnight to 41st by the finish.
Mike, going.
Well, not only is he a serious supporter of the Scottish Championship, he's a serious supporter of Scottish rallying.
Aye.
Having not even made the start of the Snowman due to engine issues, Oren McDonald and Claire Fraser were probably the most relieved crew at the finish of the Speyside. 2nd in class and 36th overall was an excellent result considering the engine was way down on power after more last-minute drama. Scott McCombie and Murray Strachan failed to make it out of the dark of Friday night. 42nd overall and 9th in M7 was another good result for Aileen and John Forrest. Aileen taking another ladies' win and really enjoying the Forest stages, especially Gartley Moor. She was working on some tips and advice she'd got from a recent day of tuition from Tom Cave. Out for the first time in the ex-Scott Macbeth Evo after a last-minute deal, Chris Colley and Ricky Finlayson were happy to see the finish after a tough run of luck in recent times. It wasn't perfect with a few brake problems during the Saturday, and the Evo finished just 16 seconds down on Barry Groundwater and Ashley Will in their Super 2000 Polo. The Subaru Cup sponsor happy to bounce back after retiring on the Snowman.
Massive learning curve, the new car, bit of a baptism of fire. Enjoyed it, but at the same time there's a lot of learning to do. But today is just really a glorified test day. Still getting used to it, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
Justin Gunning was making his debut in his newly purchased Clio. Michael Moats stepping in to navigate last minute after getting the call on the Friday afternoon. Learning as they went in the new car, they were starting to get on the pace when they unfortunately slipped off the road in stage 10. Plenty to come from this car and crew in the future. .44th overall and 2nd in class, it was another solid run for Richard Stewart and Karen Tate-Logan in the 208. Richard is always very self-deprecating, saying the driver was poor, but the navigator was good. Bob Adamson had Sion Williams in the hot seat for the first time, but it was a difficult event for the Fiesta crew, retiring with a blown head gasket. After retiring on the Snowman, the Speyside was the Irvines' first full gravel event in their new I-20. Struggling to see in the dark, they made a steady start on the Friday before beginning to push on the Saturday. 28th overall was a solid result as they learned the car. It was an excellent battle for 13th overall. Willie Patterson and Tom Hind continuing their R5 learning curve in their Fabia, eventually winning out over John Rintoul and Ross Hind by just 1 second at the end of the event. John and Ross celebrating 10 years of competing as a team with a good run, and Willie and Tom were happy to bounce back after their Snowman retirement.